Welcome.
Welcome.
We're here on our Mindful Eating channel.
Yes,
We're gonna
we're actually delayed because we were supposed to be here Friday, but that's why we tell you to put the notification bell so that you get the videos when they come up.
and the reason we're coming on today is
Yeah.
because we received a great question.
Yes.
What is mindful eating?
Mhm.
And we're gonna answer that question.
But first,
Yes.
let's talk about we had a poker game and we talked about mindful eating preparations, and Brett is going to tell us how he prepared for that, and then I'm going to tell you how I prepare for that too.
So had some former coworkers over Friday night for a friendly game here at the house, and typically a lot of eating happens, and I knew that, and it's things that I wouldn't normally eat or in the quantity I would eat. So I prepared all day Friday. I didn't have any breakfast, lunch, and pre-dinner were just straight roast beef with cheese in small portions so that I saved up a ton of calories for that night. Even before that, Thursday night, in preparation of Friday, I went to the gym for almost 2 hours and worked out mostly on the Stairmaster, but basically burned 1,000 calories at the gym extra to make up for what I was going to eat Friday night. So that is a sneak peek as to part of what mindful eating is, so that I was able to indulge, and we'll talk about what I indulged in.
Yeah, and so I don't eat after 5 p.m., but this game was going to be at 7 p.m., and there was going to be all of these treats, and I'm over here hanging out. Of course, I'm the only girl, and I'm hanging out in the room. I'm not playing, but it was kind of tempting. I actually had one of the cookies. I didn't eat a whole lot, but I did grab the chips that you brought, the voodoo chips.
Zappos Voodoo Chips.
Voodoo Chips.
Sponsor us if you want. We love your chips.
So good. So I was actually hanging out in the room doing some work, and I said to him, just bring me some of those chips. And I grabbed the bag, and I was not even going to care about how much of it I was going to have, but I ended up having a lot of the bag. And but I stopped right when I was like, okay, that's it, I've had enough. There was a little bit, in past times I would have said, there's only a little bit, I'm just gonna finish it.
Right.
But the mindful eating is instilled in me. It's like, I know I'm full, I don't need to finish the bag, I can leave this. And so I did not finish the whole bag. But then
go
ahead.
I was just going to say, we've teased them long enough. Let's just explain what mindful eating is.
Before I do that, my stomach the next day was horrible. I paid for it, and yeah, but go ahead.
So that's a little sneak peek as to why mindful eating is different for every person.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm just going to come out and say it. Mindful eating is not dieting.
Right. Exactly. We have some notes here that we are looking at just so that we don't forget everything that we do want to share. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifestyle that helps you make peace with food.
It made us make peace with food.
Yeah. So that you look and feel your best.
Right.
It's determining what foods work best for you.
Right.
And it's a little bit of a journey.
It's a journey. It's not a quick weight loss program. It is a lifestyle. So it can be for weight loss, or it can be for weight control, which originally for me, it was all about weight control. And then we did a fast, and then I lost weight, and now I'm controlling the weight that I lost from the fast.
It's also not dieting in the sense that it's not necessarily food restrictions.
Right.
I'm not restricting myself from any types of foods. I still eat the whole gamut of sweets, candy bars, ice cream, cookies, donuts, all of it. But for me, mindful eating is about calorie counting and moderation, and not emotionally eating.
Right.
And so I'm able to have those things in small, tasty portions.
Exactly. Whereas for me, it's about low carb, high fat protein. And if I eat too many carbs, like I did with the chips, especially because I think they were processed and I had a lot of it, and who knows what else was in the ingredients, my stomach was making so much noise, and I had to do number 3 a bunch of times.
Number 3? What's number 3?
It's a soft number 2.
I've never heard anyone say number 3, including my wife.
If you've heard it be called number 3, let me know. Put it
We've
in
been
the
together
comments below.
21 years. I've never
have
heard you say
I have
number
heard it
3.
say number 3. I've heard people say number
But I've never
3.
heard you say it. Shocking me on
I don't
camera.
really always have that problem, but recently it's been an issue. So you know what I had to do to mitigate that? I had to eat protein and fat the next day, and I couldn't do fruits or anything that had a lot of fiber in it. I did also have one day with a lot of fruits, and it was a lot of fiber, and it was just really bad. So, anyways,
So we're explaining mindful eating,
that
and
are
so
differences.
well, or what it is. And so for Glenda, mindful eating is about her sensitive gut
Right.
and her energy levels and her
Right.
well-being mentally, because all of those things are easily affected by the different food she eats.
Yes.
Whereas I'm really tolerant and I
Mhm.
can eat all different kinds of things and it doesn't change my gut much or change my mood much.
Mhm.
So for me, then I don't restrict the types of foods. I restrict the calories.
Now, what it does is that you don't lose control of your cravings or your desires. So you are basically developing your self-control to make sure that you don't just give in to this, what we have called addiction. We really believe we had an addiction because we've been together for 20 plus years, and it's been very difficult for us to control. And in those 20 or 20 whatever years, 21 years, how often were you able to fast food? Every time
Not
I would
much.
ask him to fast, he would say, "No, I don't want to fast."
Right.
So if you can live without it, it's an addiction. And fasting for us who are Christians, and whether you're a Christian or not, even in health communities, they encourage fasting. If you cannot fast for one day or a food or something, then you are addicted. So
That's a good point.
that doesn't mean that you're so what we mindful eating is about overcoming the mindless eating, and you're not necessarily ignoring your wants and needs and desires. And this is where it's an individual thing.
It's also for me not running to food as comfort when you're having emotions that you're trying to mask, cover up, ignore. So for me, it was the mindful eating is not about just turning to these foods so that it can instantly make me feel better, which tends to lead to overeating or the cycle. Mindful eating for me is recognizing, why am I about to eat? Am I feeling a certain way? I need to pause and take those emotions and process them, talk to my wife, talk to God, figure out what's going on, rather than just turn to food and let those things keep bottling up, which is what which caused me to gain a lot of weight over a couple of years when I was doing that.
Right. So we confront those triggers, we confront those emotions. We don't necessarily ignore them. And we don't just ignore our cravings and we eat what we want, but we set boundaries. So with Brett, he
We
likes to
plan.
eat everything. He counts calories. For me, I don't do generally. I limit my carb intake, and when I eat it, I generally have it earlier in the morning. I don't usually have it in the nighttime. And so
So I pause there for 1 sec because I kind of do the opposite. I wake up in the morning and I fast breakfast and just have coffee, and I have a tiny lunch because I like to save all my calories for dinner and dessert so that I eat a bunch at night so that I go to bed feeling full and satisfied rather than going to bed feeling hungry, because I hated that when I was dieting.
right, exactly. And so the good thing about this is that you are listening to your body, and you're not necessarily doing something you don't want to do just because you want to lose weight.
You're finding a lifestyle that works for you.
Your why definitely matters. Why are you doing it? If you're just doing it to lose weight, you're going to lose the weight and gain it back. But when you do it for health reasons, and so we decided, okay, he wants to eat all that he wants because he wants to be healthy, but he doesn't necessarily want to.
Well, when you say I want to be healthy, I want to be a healthy weight.
Healthier. Well, you want to be a healthy way, but healthier. So you're limiting your portions.
That's true.
So in limiting your portions, and during the fast, you said that you that you were craving some shakes and some healthier foods.
Some healthier options. Yeah.
It's not all at once. It's a lifestyle that progresses and continues to get better over time. And so, we are both feeling like we're living free from food addiction. I've overcome alcohol addiction. I quit once, then I quit a second time. I'm going 2025 3 years again without alcohol, and I love it. I don't miss alcohol. I learned. So mindful eating looks inward. I learned what is good for me. And so in listening to my body, I realized, this really doesn't make me feel good. Why should I have it? Where Brett, he realized overeating doesn't really make me feel good, and I put on weight. Why do I want to do that? I mean, I can't imagine that it was just the weight.
Well, the weight caused other issues. I already have a little bit of back issues from some car accidents, things like that. And so when I carry extra weight, it exacerbates my pain in my body. When I carry extra weight, it affects my energy levels. I feel more tired and things like that. So being 35 pounds lighter right now is making a huge difference in my health in a positive way. When she talked about looking inward, I was going a couple years through a lot of emotional eating. And so it was a vicious cycle in that I'm not feeling good because of my emotions. So I'm turning to food for comfort. And then that's putting on extra weight. Then I don't feel good about how I look on top of all the emotions. But the only outlet I have is eating food that tastes good. And so it's a snowball effect. And so for me, mindful eating is recognizing the emotional triggers behind a lot of mindless eating and emotional eating, and hitting those head on rather than keeping them under the surface and covering it with the food.
So we used to both feel very miserable and defeated. And let me tell you, this we felt differently. Like when he tried to diet and not eat late at night or control his food, he was miserable. And when I tried,
or when I went keto,
or when he went keto, and when I tried to eat late at night, I was miserable. So I had to, for a period of time, detach myself from him and say, I cannot eat the way that you eat. You go ahead and eat all you want at night in front of the TV if that's what you like, but I need to go to the bedroom. I need to do my thing. I don't want to be around food. And that helped us discover and learn what we do like, and we listen to our body. And with him eating all of the food that he eats at night, I had to stop pretty much bugging him and saying that's not good for you, because he lost weight and his blood work is pretty okay considering, because you went to do blood work. And so I just had to realize, and that's how mindful eating was birthed, because of the fact that he was eating all that he was eating at night and he was losing weight and his blood work is okay. I couldn't believe it, but I was feeling miserable. So then we realized that just like our thumbprint is individual for each and every single one of us, so is the food that we eat. And there are so many people that tell you, eat this. And I've tried carnivore, I've tried vegan, I've tried keto, Atkins, I've done blood work diets. I've done a bunch of different diets, and I realized none of them work, but different things from every single one of them I can take and apply into my life, and then not be so restrictive to the point that I put myself in a box of carnivore, and then if I eat some meat or fruit, I get ripped apart. Or if you're vegan and you have a little meat, no, this is mindful eating. This is what my body is asking, what my body needs. I'm going to learn to intuitively listen to my hunger and fullness cues, and I'm going to eat based on that. And then I'm going to focus on the emotions and how I feel after, so that I can create boundaries around it, which for me were not eating after dinner. For Brett was calorie counting.
Yeah, so I'll explain a little more of the calorie counting and how that works for me in a sense. So like Glenda said, I tried diets too. I tried keto, I tried other things. And they worked for a time, but because they're so restrictive,
right.
There's a point where you sometimes can't take it anymore, and then you go and binge. And so this lifestyle of mindful eating stops me from binging, because I don't have the mentality that I'm restricted from anything.
Right.
So when I eat it, I don't go overboard, because I know I can always have it whenever I want. And I don't get derailed because it's a lifestyle. And I don't feel shame and guilt like dieting tends to do. When you're on a diet and you slip or you break it or something, there tends to be this shame, this guilt that you feel. And then that kind of snowballs into, well, I already broke this because I had a piece of chocolate, and I don't know when I'm going to get to eat a piece of chocolate again. So I might as well eat the whole bag of chocolate right now. And that happens over and over. With the calorie counting, I budget my calories for the day, right? So that's why I have a coffee for breakfast. That's okay for me. I have a small lunch that gets me through to dinner time. But I'm planned in my mind that I've got this 1,000+ calories for dinner, and I'm going to have my dinner, but I'm saving calories for small candy bar or two, small ice cream or two, something like that, where I've portioned it and counted it so I can have those tastes. I can have the desserts I want without feeling like I never know I'm going to get it. I need to eat a whole container of ice cream.
Right. So the calorie counting gave you boundaries to your emotional
And self-control.
eating and mindless eating, because we give excuses, like we say, I need to eat this to feel good, I need to eat that to feel good, but that kind of thinking really does backfire. And and so if you are someone who likes to eat everything, maybe the calorie counting is a good boundary for you to set. Okay, I'm going to track what I eat, because when I used to calorie count, I don't calorie count anymore, but I remember how many when I first started to count how many calories we can eat mindlessly a day.
Oh yeah, 4,000 easy, probably.
4, 5, 6,000 calories, and then we wonder how am I gaining weight? Exactly. So, anyways, and I don't count calories, but even though I don't count calories, I have been able to maintain weight. And during a fast, I lost weight, and then I've been able to maintain that weight loss. During that fast, I was able to, thank you for the like, I was able to portion control. And now even my control are a little bit lower. My food count is a little bit lower, even by sight. And I've been being able to lose even a little bit more weight. So, but realizing, again, learning my fullness and hunger cues.
This is just another reason we say that mindful eating is not one size fits all. Every single person is going to be on a different journey. And we discovered this by asking ourselves some questions, which Glenda put into a handy free resource, a journal that's going to be linked below, that starts to ask you questions like, why am I eating right now? That's the kind of question that makes you start thinking about, is there emotional triggers or other things happening? What am I eating right now? Is this something that I'm craving that's going to serve me well, or is this going to make me feel worse later? Am I going to regret it? Maybe I should choose a different option. When am I eating? Is this, Glenda says if she eats late, she doesn't feel good. Whereas for me, if I don't eat late, I don't feel good. So, there are certain things that we've got to track and decide what works for you. But our goal is the same, right, even though the way we're getting there is totally different.
Exactly. We actually got an amazing study from Grandy Garris on emotional intelligence, and it really opened up our eyes about the bondage we had to food.
Not emotional intelligence, sorry, but emotional well-being.
No,
it's a different emotional intelligence. Different.
Okay,
thing.
so
emotional well-being in the human.
Yeah, so I think it is in the description box below. I think we posted it. If it's something that interests you, we'll be glad to share it with you. It is on YouTube and it is free, and it is just a really good study. And so it helped us to shift, our mindset and the why that we were eating. And instead of living to eat, eating to live, and healthier in a sustainable way. Yes, even with sweets and treats. And, we just want to share, if this is a journey that interests you, we are very passionate about living a life with purpose, which we have a second channel, by the way, called That Influence for Purpose and Influencia para Propósito, to live life with faith-filled intention. And here we want to approach eating mindfully because of the struggles we've both had that kept us from fulfilling our purpose. And so
that vicious food cycle, that food addiction, when I was emotionally eating for a couple of years, really made me totally unproductive outside of work hours. Right. So all I wanted to do was veg and eat out of boredom, out of habit, out of all of these things, instead of doing anything productive in the evenings. And it's a huge part of our lives. Right. So, if you find something that you're passionate about and you love to do, then doing it in the evenings or whatever is not going to feel like a drain, or you feel like you can't do it. So living with faithful intention is a big reason why we're on this mindful eating journey and this channel.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we just want to share a few tips on the upcoming holidays. Well, we have Thanksgiving coming. A few years ago, we actually change our Thanksgiving for 1 p.m. Thankfully, all of our family agreed. And because we have a sister that goes to visit her second family, her husband's family. So that works perfectly for us. I don't know that that works for everyone. I understand many people do dinner time. So some tips that I can share, I'm going to share some from my perspective, and then Brett will share some from his perspective. For that day, I personally eat very light, probably have some eggs in the morning, and I'll eat nothing else until my lunch, which will be around 1 p.m. And I will probably not eat anything else for that day. Like today, I have my leftover from yesterday, and right now I'm having a matcha tea with a little cream. My meal, what time did I eat? Around 2 in the afternoon. And I went to take a nap, and I woke up around 4:40 or about 5. And I said, I'm really not hungry. I'm not going to eat again, but I'm going to have a drink. And then later on, I'm going to have another drink, which I have is my calm drink, magnesium. And that's all I'm going to have. I'm going to go to sleep. And tomorrow I'll eat. One thought process that has helped me recently is, can I wait to eat that until tomorrow instead of eating it right now? If I'm craving it so much, can I wait until tomorrow? And then if I really, really, really want it, I will have it in the morning, like a cookie or whatever. He knows I will have it in the morning.
I can tell you that before the fast, I didn't think this was possible.
Mm-hmm.
When Glenda, said she was going to do the 21-day fast, and I agreed to do it with her. Even when I agreed to do it, I didn't think I was going to make it through that fast. I thought, I can't live without these things, cookies and treats and sweets, especially, I didn't even think I could go one day, let alone 21 days. And after going 21 days on a fast, we were on a liquid fast where we're just having maybe soups or smoothies and coffees, and that's it. And I went 21 days without any kind of sugary snacks or carb treats or anything else. I was like, this opened up my whole. This was mind blowing for me.
Yeah.
It really opened my mind to what's possible when I considered things impossible. And then that ended up translating into other areas of our life where I really discovered I had so many limiting beliefs and negative mindsets and lies that I was believing about my own abilities, that the fasting helped me break through first with food, and that translated to other areas in our life.
Which leads me to think that you can intermittent fast. Now, I will say I've tried intermittent fast and I failed only because I was like, I'm intermittent fasting. And when I would break, it felt restrictive. But when I didn't do it on purpose, now I intermittent fast intuitively because my boundary is not eating after dinner. So I do a little bit of an intermittent fast. But I want to say,
it's your choice for your lifestyle because you don't like going to bed with a full belly.
Maybe
so you chose to intermittent fast because that's what worked for you, as opposed to someone saying you need to intermittent fast because that's how you diet and lose weight.
Exactly. And maybe for you that doesn't affect you, but for me, the restrictiveness of intermittent fasting was like, no, I needed a why. Like, I don't just want to intermittent fast to lose weight. I needed to know, why am I intermittent fasting? And I had to go look inwardly and realize I don't feel good eating after dinner, just like I realized I don't like the way I feel after a night of drinking. Why am I drinking? So I needed to find my why. You need to find your why. And then I want to say, don't be scared of being hungry. It's okay to be hungry. Your autophagy takes place when you are experiencing hunger, and that means your body is getting rid of toxins in your body during that moment, that time of fasting. There is obviously not a short period of time, but it helps your body to regenerate itself inwardly. And so, don't be. One mindset that I had was like, I'm not going to starve to death. I really am not going to starve to death. I can wait until I get home. One bad habit that I used to have that I've recently broken is I couldn't wait until I got home to eat. I would eat in the car.
Used to drive me crazy.
Oh yes, I used to drive him crazy. Like, we would pick up food and I'm like,
hungry too. Wait till I get home. I'm driving. I
wanted to eat it hot and it smells so good, and I wanted to eat it in the car. And now I'm just like, I can wait until I get home and I will eat when I get in the car.
As we're talking about this, it's funny because when we were trying dieting, that diet mentality, I didn't used to like to go to the gym back then because it's like, you have to do this to lose weight. I didn't used to like to fast a meal because you have to do this to lose weight. I didn't, all these things. Now I like to do certain things because it's our decision after what works for us, and we want to do it. It's the lifestyle. So I really love going to the gym now because it's accomplishing my goals. Like, hey, if I burn, like I did the other night, if I go burn 1,000 calories in 2 hours, I know that means that's 1,000 calories of pizza and cookies that I'm going to get to eat. But I'm not just eating pizza and cookies because I'm giving into cravings. I planned for it. I allotted for those. I got the amount of pizza and the amount of cookies that I've measured out that are going to fit within that. And I still stay, with weight loss, even eating pizza and cookies. So it's like, plus I get the runner's high or whatever you call of working out, and that helps my mental health and dealing with the emotions too.
So share your tips for what you're going to do for Thanksgiving, your mindful eating tips based on your eating lifestyle.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving, like you said, we eat at 1. So that's great for me because typically even on my work days, I get up and I don't really have breakfast. I have coffee, and that typically, maybe I'll have a snack until lunch. Knowing that we're going to eat a huge lunch, it'd be easy for me to just have coffee. I'm going to have the huge lunch. What I do is I've got my phone out with my calorie app. So
that they know.
Not sponsored, but everyone, the Lose It app. I love the Lose It app. If you have the paid version, like I do now, it's got a barcode scanner. I eat a lot of processed food because on the back, it tells me the exact number of calories. It's easy for me to track. Poop, you scan the barcode, it puts the calories in for your meal. But so what we're going to do is,
but you don't need the paid version.
No, you don't need. I use the free version for years and years.
If you have an Apple Watch or one of those calorie tracker watch, it tracks how much exercise you have,
which adds to my calorie intake,
to your calorie budget.
So you set your weight, you set the goal, you set things like that. So when we're at her mom's and having turkey, I'm going to figure out about how much I have and enter it in. When I'm eating the potato salad, I'm going to figure out, is that a cup of potato salad? I'm going to add it in. And so I'm going to add my calories for the day after we have the lunch. I may eat my entire day's allotment of calories at that lunchtime. If I do, I'm probably going to go to the, the gym will be closed on Thanksgiving. I'll probably run around the block and burn some extra calories so I can have dinner.
It's always good to walk after you eat a meal. It's really good. So those are our tips for you. Maybe try tracking your calories. Maybe work out to burn calories. Maybe intermittent fast. Maybe don't eat after the meal or leading up to, depending on what time. And also bring a dish. Bring a dish that's a great
option. Bring a healthy option that you want to eat if you're too tempted by some of the other stuff. We've done that before recently. We've brought our own food dish so that we didn't have to eat.
Yes. And another one is you can actually put some food in your plate and pick at it without having to eat all of it. Just simply sit at the table and enjoy people. We have actually gone to dinners where we didn't eat at all and people asked us and we said, no, we don't want any. And they respected us. People will respect your choices. You don't have to. That's one big question that I get asked. What do you do when you're around people and you're not eating this or that? I'm like, I just simply tell them, no, thank you. I don't want any, or I don't want to. We literally sat at a restaurant with people. And because we were during our 21-day fasting from solid foods and they had no soup, we just didn't eat anything, and we sat there and enjoyed everyone, and everyone ate, and we were.
We thought it was going to be a huge deal, and it was
not a big deal. We rehearsed how we would, respond in the event of a question, but nobody cared. Nobody cares.
Before I forget, I'm sorry. I have one last tip about the calorie counting that I love. That's important. There are definitely days where I go over my calorie counting budget, and not necessarily work out or anything else. But because I have the discipline and the diligence to keep adding those calories in, and I see the number going red above my calorie, that actually stops me from overeating even more. So kind of like with dieting, if you're like, oh, I had the piece of chocolate, I might as well have the whole bag. When I'm eating above my calories and I eat an extra cookie or I eat an extra dessert and I see 100, 200, 300 calories above my budget, it helps me stop and control and say, you know what? I had it. I had enough. So that's another reason that it's a lifestyle. It's not that it's so restrictive that I can't have any more. It's that, hey, this helps me be accountable. And because it's a lifestyle, I'm right on track the next day.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, we are just going to wrap this up. And we just wish you well this upcoming Thanksgiving. We wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
And we are going to just close with a prayer. We have the journal, free mindful eating journal below, if that is something that interests you. If you are interested in a complimentary call, 15-minute Zoom call with us to kind of take inventory of your life and maybe get some ideas of how you can get started, we will be more than happy to speak with you. And we also have a Facebook private group in the description box below that you can join, so that you can share your journal entries and we can just, overcome together, have victory over this together. So will you please close
Absolutely.
us in prayer?
God, we just thank you so much for this opportunity to help each other, to build each other up, to encourage each other, to break free from food addiction or any struggles that we have in this area with eating. And God, this week of Thanksgiving, we all have something to be thankful for, Lord. If we're on a computer and we're seeing this technology, then we're blessed than most of the world right now. And we just are grateful for whatever family or friends you've put in our lives that we can celebrate with. And just continue to be hopeful and joyful, regardless of the situations and circumstances. We can just continue to move forward, and to continue to work towards being the best version of ourselves. And we bless everyone watching this now and later. And we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name,
Amen.
amen. Thank you for joining. Happy Thanksgiving. We will see you next time.
Bless you.